Alright, in this lesson we're going to be doing discontinuity behavior. So when your graph is discontinuous, what's the behavior at the different places along the graph where it is discontinuous? Right. Your objective is, today I will be able to state the behavior at discontinuities in a graph. Right. So it's going to be similar to what we did with the end behavior, except that in this one, you'll have graphs that either have a breaking point like this, or graphs that are split into two, maybe something like this. So what we did before was what's happening on the ends, that's end behavior. Today we're doing discontinuous. So what's happening here and what's happening here? What's happening in the middle of the graph where it's discontinuous, right? So when we do our answers, I'm going to show you two different ways to write it. If you're writing it in pencil, you're going to write it one way, but because of how we write it, it's hard to type. So if you're typing, I'll give you a way around it. So when we write it, it's going to look like as x approaches blank from the, and then a little negative sign like where the exponent would be. That just means from the left, as it's coming from the left side. So if your graph has this point, that means what's it doing as it's coming up from the left side. And then for the other one, as x approaches the number from the right side, what's the function doing? Right? So left side, right side. So I'm just going to make a note here. This one is left side. This one is right side. So to just instead of saying as x approaches 2, the function approaches 5. As x approaches 2, and having the same number and not knowing which is which, these just say from the left, from the right, or from the negative side, from the positive side, positive side. Right. Now these can be hard to type depending on what program you're using. Like if you were typing in a Google Doc, you could do it, but if you're typing on GoFormative, they don't really have any way for you to do that easily. So I'm going to show you what you can do. If you want to type it and you can't do those little symbols, you can say as x approaches blank from the left, the function does this. As x approaches blank from the right, f of x approaches blank. That's most common. Sometimes they'll say left and then do their thing. And then right and do the same thing. So just as long as you clarify which one is left, which one is right. It doesn't super matter how you write it, as long as you get the main stuff, like the x, this part, and this part. You can change where you put the left and the right part. Alright? Okay, so some examples. So here's our first example. We have a jump discontinuity, where the function, you got a line on this side, and then it jumps down here. So that's a jump one. So I'm going to get started. As x approaches, now for the number, you want to go to where you have that dot, right? Here's our dots. What x value goes with those? So if we look here, they're on -3. So we'll put -3 from the left, and then we'll do -3 from the right. Okay, so we got to fill in those blanks. So as we come from the left side, so on this side of the graph, the function is on what y value, right? So remember, you're putting in, this would be your y value here. The x value goes there, the y value goes on the other side. If we're looking at this dot, if we go over, it's on 6. So 6 would go here. For this one, As x approaches -3 from the right side, so the right side is over here. So as our graph's going here, what value is this dot on? So if we go across, now it doesn't have a number there. If you'll notice, this was a 6 here, and then like a nothing, 6, nothing, 12. That's telling me this should be 3 and 9. So it's going up by 3, -3, -6, -9, -18. There. So make sure you pay attention to the scale on your graphs. There aren't always going to be 1, right? So if you put 4 here, that's wrong, right? It's not -4, it's -18 because the graph's going by 3s on the y-axis. And that's it. So there's that graph. Look at another one. That was a jump discontinuity. This is an infinite discontinuity because the graph, there's no dots, but there are arrows in the middle there. So let's get started. As x approaches, so what's the x value here where we have these? This x value seems to be 1, 2, 3. So as x approaches 3 from the left, and as x approaches 3 from the right, f of x approaches, so from the left is this way. What's this graph doing? It's going down forever, so -infinity. From the right, so as we go this way, the graph's going up, so +infinity. Right, -infinity, +infinity. Right. So this last example I picked out here has 2 discontinuities. There's 2 places. There's one here and one here. So if you have multiple of them, that means you have to do it multiple times. So we'll do one for the first side and then one for the second side. So they'll each get their own answer. All right, so for the first one, we'll do this one. This number is on -4. So I'm going to write as x approaches -4 from the left and -4 from the right. Figure out where our function is. So from the left, this y value is on 8. So I'll put an 8 there. The other one, so this one was 8. This one is on, they're going up by 2s, so this one would be a 2. Right, that's the first one. Left side is on 8, right side is on 2. For our second jump over here, this one is as x approaches 4. So we got 4 from the left, 4 from the right. Okay. So as it comes from the left is this side. This number is be -2 on the y. F of x approaches -2. And from the right side, so right side is this, we are on +2. There we go. So if there's multiple breaks, you have to do multiple answers. Right? So 2, 3, 4, however many there are, that's how many answers you should have. Right. So I have 2 more here. What I want you to do is pause the video and try them yourself, then unpause it to see if you got the right answers. Right? So pause it, come back. Okay, so for our first one, our break is here. That x number would be a -2. So -2 left, -2 right. So as we look on the left side, this is the left side. This graph is going up, so I'm going to push positive infinity. On the right side, my graph is going down here, so I'll put negative infinity there. For number 9, I have the dots this time, so my answer will be a number. Now if we look at the x, we see it's in between here. These are counting by 2's, so in between -4 and -6 would be -5. So we'll have -5 for our x, left and right. So on the left side, so this little piece here, the y value of that is -4. On the right side, that would be this piece. The y value is on 10. And that's it. If you had trouble with this lesson, or if you figure out you have trouble once you start trying it yourself on the Go Formative, please come to office hours and I can explain it to you in a little more